Now you have another option. We're gonna apply that other option onto this road. Let's go ahead and mark this road. As we've said before, if you want to fill up this road with a color, just create a new layer, click Alt and delete, and there you go, it's filled up. But I don't want to fill it up with a color, I want to fill it up with a texture. How do you do that? This is called pattern. To create a pattern, let's go ahead and close this, and let's close that. Let's go ahead and open up an asphalt image. In my recollection, we've actually, yeah, there you go, asphalt texture. Now this is the image that we're using. How do I do that? How do I fill it up? Previously we used just copy, rotate and stuff to fill up this area, but I don't want to do that. I want to create something that I would use in more than one project. I want to go to this and go to edit and say define pattern. Call this asphalt. Oh, not Arabic, English, asphalt. Say OK. Now when you come to right here, you can actually double click on this. You'll see something called pattern overlay. In pattern overlay, you can see that it's filling up with a random texture. Let's go ahead and pick the actual asphalt texture that we just created. The asphalt texture is quite big. Now we don't want that, we want it to be smaller. You see the scale here, make it smaller, no problem. There you go. Now I want to make this asphalt actually also go right there. Do we need to do that again? No, we are on the same layer, and it doesn't matter what color you're using. You can just go ahead, for example, and pick this and click Alt Delete, because you're filling up the layer. If you hide the pattern, you're seeing that we are actually clicking here, Alt Delete. Then you can just go ahead and pick, for example, this, Alt Delete, and enable the pattern. It's actually creating the pattern inside this. It's replacing the color that you're creating. I want to create a shadow of this building. Let's turn on this layer again. I want to create a shadow for this building. How do you do that? As we said before, we can actually just do this and do drop shadow, but you're going to notice something when it comes to buildings. When it comes to buildings, when you do something like that, you're going to see that it's floating. Because, you know, Photoshop is reading a square, rectangle. It's not reading actually a three-dimensional object. It doesn't know that this needs to be connected with that. So how do you fix that? There's no quick fix in Photoshop. Basically, you need to create a new layer, put it right under this, go right there by selection, just click here. I want to have the sun, for example, coming to this direction, then right there, and then something like that and that. You're gonna notice that this is not parallel to that, and that's gonna be a problem. So how do you fix that? We'll see. Let's create something with a black color. If you click D, it actually reverts back this to desaturated colors, black and white. If you click X, it's gonna switch them up. Let's go for black and click Alt Delete. Let's put this road right under this so we can see what we're doing. How do you do that? How do you create this? There are many ways, so many ways, but we're gonna go for the easiest way because, well, you know, we are artists or architects. We don't really need to go for all of the technical stuff in this software, so we can actually just go ahead and pick this, Control J. Whoops, we're on a different layer. Control J. There you go. You have it here. You can see that this is there. Let's put it right over here. This is something like a guideline. Generally, I don't actually use something like that. I actually use, let me show you how to do that. Where is it? Where is it? There you go, line tool. I actually create a line. This is my guide now. Now, wherever I want to put it, I just drag it right here and draw based on that. Then go there, put it here, draw on that. So let's use it and delete this. This is just a quick fix, you know, if it's just one line you want to create, but this is actually better. Let's go to right here and click right there, mark it up, go up, and I'll delete. There you go, you have a shadow. The shadow, you can actually change the opacity of it, and we're done. You can just now do this with that and duplicate them around. There you go. Now what if I want to make this intersect with that? Easy. You can actually just control click on this, and then I want to also control click on this. How do you do that? You can actually click control shift. You see it changing the marker. If you click alt and control, it's minus. If you click shift and control, it gives you plus. It means the selection is actually going to include the shadow. So we're going to click control and shift and mark this up. We're going to go for this and delete. And there you go. This is actually a quite rough image of how to create this stuff. Now let's do a stroke. I want to show you something quite simple. If I want to stroke a line around this place, how do you do that? Like I want to make a line going from here to right over there. I want to make a marker. How do you do that? Easy. If it's a straight line, we can actually, let's delete all of these stuff. There's no need for it. We don't want anything confusing us. Let's remove them all and create a new layer on top of that. And there's no need for this. Let's delete it. We can go for the brush tool, make it hard, 100%, change the size. We can just click shift while drawing, like, because right now its opacity is set to 17%. Let's make it larger and let's change this from color dodge to normal. When we click here and draw, we're gonna get a bit of a loose image, loose line. So when we click and hold shift with it, we're gonna have a straight line. What if I want to have a very straight line from here to there, for example? Well, you can use that using the pen. You can do that using the pen, or you can just click here and click shift and click there. There you go. You have a straight line. Then again, click one here, then shift, click there, then click there, click here, by holding the shift and just clicking. This is very useful when you want to mark up something. Like for example, I have a line coming from here to there. We're gonna type something here and we're gonna have something pointing out to this direction. How do we do that? Hold shift and click. Now this is gonna go inside, so let's shift in there. See, or we are gonna actually click here and shift. Simple stuff. So what if I want to make it a curve? You can actually go for the pen, as we said in this video. Do that, right click, stroke path with the brush, and there you go. You have a pen. Very sharp. Now what if I want to have a dash line? Now this is going to be something different. In the brush tool, there are many ways of creating this, but the main thing is when you go for the brush tool, when you right click, you're going to see many shapes. Some of them are square. If you don't see these squares, sometimes you need to download them. It's free, so you can find them all over the internet, or sometimes you can find it here. When you click on this, you're gonna find something like basic brushes and stuff like that. Some of these stuff are square, like square brushes. You can just pick any of these stuff. When you draw now, you're gonna get a straight square instead of a circle. Now, if you go to the brush settings, which is this one, if you don't have this window, you can just go to window and you can see brush. Click on brush and you're gonna get this. Using this, we're gonna use some general stuff, like for example, spacing. See the spacing? We're not gonna go into all of these stuff. It's quite complicated. It has a lot of options, and it's very good for artists that wanna draw and paint and stuff. But for us, there's no need for all of that. Spacing is the option to leave gaps between them. So basically, you can see that we are leaving gaps. Let's make the spacing even bigger. Well, there you go. A bit smaller. Good. I think this is proper for us. Now, what if I want to have it, instead of a square, I want to have it a rectangle? Well, you can actually see this circle. You can just squish it a bit. See how this line is now a stroke. Now if I make the brush a bit bigger, you can see how it looks. Let's make this even sharper. You can see a preview right there. Excellent.